Of the law. We're going to start in Exodus, the 20th chapter, verses 1 through 17. Okay.
And God spake all these words, saying, I am the Lord thy God, which have brought thee out of the land of Egypt, out of the house of bondage. Thou shalt have no other gods before me. Thou shalt not make unto thee any graven image, or any likeness of anything that is in heaven above, or that is in the earth beneath, or that is in the water under the earth. Thou shalt not bow down thyself to them, nor serve them. For I, the Lord thy God, am a jealous God, visiting the iniquity of the fathers upon the children unto the third and fourth generation of them that hate me, and showing mercy unto thousands of them that love me and keep my commandments. Thou shalt not take the name of the Lord thy God in vain, for the Lord will not hold them guiltless that taketh his name in vain. Remember the Sabbath day to keep it holy. 6 days shalt thou labor and do all thy work, but the seventh day is the Sabbath of the Lord thy God. In it thou shalt not do any work, thou, nor thy son, nor thy daughter, thy manservant, nor thy maidservant, nor thy cattle, nor thy stranger that is within thy gates. For in 6 days the Lord made heaven and earth, the sea, and all that in them is, and rested the seventh day. Wherefore the Lord blessed the Sabbath day and hallowed it. Honor thy father and thy mother, that thy days may be long upon the land which the Lord thy God giveth thee. Thou shalt not kill, thou shalt not commit adultery, thou shalt not steal, thou shalt not bear false witness against thy neighbor. Thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's house, thou shalt not covet thy neighbor's wife, nor his manservant, nor his maidservant, nor his ox, nor his ass, nor anything that is thy neighbor's.
Now let's go to Ecclesiastes, the 12th chapter. Read verses 13 and 14.
Let us hear the conclusion of the whole matter. Fear God and keep his commandments, for this is the whole duty of man. For God shall bring every work into judgment with every secret thing, whether it be good or whether it be evil.
Revelation chapter 22, verses 14 and 15.
Blessed are they that do his commandments, that they may have right to the tree of life, and may enter in through the gates into the city. For without are dogs, and sorcerers, and whoremongers, and murderers, and idolaters, and whosoever loveth and maketh a lie.
So, sisters and brothers, when I was down with the COVID, I won't lie to you, I thought I was going to die. And in fact, one night I thought I wasn't even going to make it. So I wrote a couple of small wills, one personally and one for the congregation, because I figured I wouldn't see another sunlight. But I promised the Lord, if he would let me live, I'm going to read his law, and all of the Israel of God, every congregation under the name of the Israel of God is going to read his law every Sabbath like they used to do in the old days. It's good to stand before you. Now, last week we did a lesson from Zedekiah to the wilderness. Zedekiah was the last king we ever had, sisters and brothers. And no matter what nobody said, what somebody tried to inaugurate, Israel, the last king of Israel ever had, was a king of Judah, which was Zedekiah. And we showed you that the Lord is going to take us to the wilderness. So this week, the lesson is kind of like a continuation. It is titled From the Wilderness to the Kingdom. From the wilderness to the kingdom. This is to the kingdom of Jesus, sister and brother, until it ends. Because one thing that we're going to show you, that the Lord is not going to take all the Israelites into the land. He's going to do you just like he did our forefathers. He's going to take you to the wilderness, and he's going to see whose head is on straight. And believe me, after 40-something years in this ministry, I have never seen the Hebrew Israelite as messed up as they are now. They teach about everything but what we was commissioned to do. And that is to bring all of the sons and daughters back to God. All the sons and daughters of Adam, sisters and brothers. But we got Israel now. They're distorting the scripture, trying to get around bringing the rest of the people back into God. That case in point, all the northern tribes, the 9 tribes, the northern tribes, they Gentiles now. I never seen nothing like this. But the Lord tell you in Revelation that He gonna get people from every kindred tongue. When they said that the people said God have redeemed us for every king, kindred, tongue, and nation, and we shall rule the earth. They saying, well, let's talk about Israel that's scattered all over. This is the worst I've ever seen Israel. I have never seen people whose minds so small until they think the God of this great big universe and the God of all of these people on the planet is going to only save the house of Israel. Your mind is not small, brother. Your mind don't exist. Because I'm not going to lie. Being the old man in Israel, and I am the old man in Israel. I'm 18 months from 80. And I have seen it all. From Ben-Ami to Mona, which really the one that was really the head was the old man, was my cousin, Landrew Boyd. They call him Eliyahu. I've seen it all. I've been around it all, and I have never seen Israel in such bad shape. They fight an argument over name, this and that and this. And the Lord told you in Isaiah the 28th chapter, in another lip, with stammering lip, in another tongue will I speak to this people. He's going to speak to you in whatever language that you are. Israel is going to do it. Like I said, I've never seen it this bad. But we're going to get into this lesson, and this lesson is going to let you know, if your head is not on right, you will be done like your father, and we're going to find that out. But now, let's start in Revelation the 12th chapter. Revelation chapter 12. And here, sisters and brothers, let's talk about the people fleeing to the wilderness. These people in the 12th chapter of Revelation are the people that really have some understanding, because they're going to know the signs and they're going to know when to move. And the rest is going to come later. But we're going to show you that God is going to deliver every Israelite on the planet from among the nations that he has scattered. But that don't mean you're going to get to the land. We're going to show you that. Because I'm going to tell you something, it's hard on me. Since I went down and I watched I got to start doing something I never did. Got one of these smart TVs. I go on YouTube and I look at all of this stuff going on. And I shake my head. Now, I'm not going to lie. You got some brothers that's within Israel of God whose eyes are going out too. Or they never was lit up and they just been faking it. Because we deal with books, sisters and brothers. If it's written in the book, I'm going to deal with it. Whatever name, because the Lord told me in Revelation the 20th chapter that the books was open and the dead was, and that's the living too, was judged out of the things that are written in this book according to your works. So if the Lord put it in the work, whether it's a statement, whether it's a name or whatever, if it's in this book, I can stand before the Lord and say, look, you told me here what it was, and I taught what's in this book. So this is the woman. This woman represents Israel, sister and brother. Of course, you're going to have other nations among them because there's always been a mixed multitude. Ain't nothing changed. Revelation 12:1. Go ahead and read.
And there appeared a great wonder in heaven, a woman clothed with the sun,
Go ahead.
and the moon under her feet, and upon her head a crown of 12 stars.
Now, on your own, you can go to 37th chapter of Genesis, and it'll tell you this, show you that this is talking about Israel. The moon stands for the mother of Israel, the sun stands for Jacob, the father of Israel, and the 12 stars represent the 12 tribes of Israel. But go ahead and read.
And she being with child cried, travailing in birth and pain to be delivered. And there appeared another wonder in heaven.
Go ahead.
And behold, a great red dragon, having 7 heads and 10 horns and 7 crowns upon his head.
Now this woman was labeled to bring shore. But this child is Jesus, sister and brother, because Jesus is an Israelite. And so Satan tried to kill him at birth, but go ahead and read.
And his tail drew the third part of the stars of heaven, and did cast them to the earth.
Go ahead.
And the dragon stood before the woman which was ready to be delivered.
Go ahead.
For to devour her child as soon as it was born.
That's what he was working through Herod's system, was trying to catch Jesus and kill him. That's why the Lord had to take, that's why the angel told Jacob, take him down in Egypt. He hid him in Egypt because he was trying to cut him off. Because if he could have killed him as a child, there wouldn't be no salvation now. Right. Go ahead and read.
5. And she brought forth a man-child who was to rule all nations with a rod of iron.
Who's to rapture everybody off to heaven?
Who's
to rule all nations with the rod of iron. Go ahead and read.
And her child was caught up unto God and to his throne. And the woman...
Now, and we know that Jesus, once he came and did what he had to do, he went on back to heaven, and he's sitting on the right hand of the Father right now. Go ahead and read.
And the woman fled into the wilderness, where she hath a place prepared of God, that they should feed her there 1,260 days.
Now, the woman fled to the wilderness. Now, this leap clean to the end time now. And this wilderness, the Lord's going to prepare it. We know where it is. And he got it so it's desert and can't nobody put no condos out there. They can't put no resorts out there. They can't do nothing. It is desert. So this is the wilderness that this woman's going to flee to. Who is this woman? It's talking about Israel, physically, emotionally, and a lot of spiritual Israelites from other nations that know this truth and understand the signs. Just like it was in Israel when he come out of Egypt, it was a mixed multitude. Not all Israel not all the people among this woman are going to be Israelites. You're going to have some other people from other nations that know this thing. Right now, sisters and brothers. But Satan going to try to cut the woman off. Skip down to verse 14. Verse 14 and go ahead.
And to the woman were given 2 wings of a great eagle, that she might fly into the wilderness, into her place, where she is nourished for a time, and times, and half a time. Now
that's still 3.5 years. That is the time that the great tribulation is going to be going on. Go ahead and read.
From the face of the serpent. And the serpent cast out of his mouth water as a flood after the woman.
Go ahead.
That he might cause her to be carried away of the flood. And the earth helped the woman. And the earth opened her mouth and swallowed up the flood which the dragon cast out of his mouth.
Now, that could be an army or whatever, but what we know for sure is that Satan tried to catch this woman. These are the people that know the truth, sisters and brothers, know the sign, and that have lived according to the law of God. Satan's going to try to cut them off. But the Lord is going to help the woman, and we're going to get where he wants us to go. But when he can't get us, let's see what's going to happen. Go ahead.
And the dragon was wroth with the woman, and went to make war with the remnant of her seed.
So she wrought with the woman and went to make war with the remnant of her seed. Who are they? Go ahead.
Which keep the commandments of God.
Which keep the commandments of God.
And have the testimony of Jesus Christ.
And have the testimony of Jesus. That's the woman's seed.
Yep.
But being that he can't get, I don't know, whatever reason these people hesitated, whatever reason they held back or whatever they missed, somewhere along the line, they missed that they had to go to the wilderness for protection. So what's happening is the dragon going to turn his people on them. Mm-hmm. And that will really be the real start of the Great Tribulation. Now let's look and show you. We're going to confirm this. Let's go into Revelation 13 chapter now. We're already here. Revelation 13 and start reading at verse 1. Revelation 13 and 1. Okay, go ahead.
And I stood upon the sand of the sea and saw a beast rise up out of the sea
having
7 heads and 10 horns. And upon his horns 10 crowns.
Go ahead.
And upon his heads the name of blasphemy.
Now we're looking at this beast today, sister and brother. These are talking about the 10 nations that's going to run Western Europe. Mm-hmm. And they tell you every horn had a crown. So these are a bunch of leaders going to come together and give their crown to one man. So this is the resurrection of this beast, and we're looking at it right now. But most people don't understand it. Even a bunch of my Hebrew brothers don't understand. They so busy trying to throw the Gentile and the stranger in the lake of fire. It's just like running the streets, beating up somebody in the middle of the streets, and the truck come along and kill everybody. Because ain't nobody looking. But go ahead and read.
And the beast which I saw was like unto a leopard. And his feet were as the feet of a bear.
Go ahead.
And his mouth as the mouth of a lion.
Go ahead.
And the dragon gave him his power and his seat and great authority.
Now that represents this over there, EU represent the whole Gentile dynasty from Nebuchadnezzar down to the EU, sister and brother. And where did he get his power from? He got it from the dragon. Because remember, what this beast looked like what we just gave the description of the dragon, didn't we? Yep. 7 heads, 10 horns. We know the dragon is Satan the devil. He has 4 heads, calf feet, 6 wings, and eyes all over because he is a cherub angel. But these nations, starting with Nebuchadnezzar, these Gentile nations, represent the dragon. So let's see what happened with the people. Go ahead and read.
3. And I saw one of his heads as if it were wounded to death. And his deadly wound was healed.
Go ahead.
And all the world wondered after the beast.
Because we're looking at the healing of the head right now in Western Europe. Go ahead and read.
And they worshiped the dragon which gave power unto the beast.
What you mean worship the dragon which gave power unto the beast? Who changed the Sabbath day from the 7th to the 1st day? The dragon's people, sisters and brothers. Who is it that said he wants to go to heaven? The dragon, not God. Who is it that denied that Jesus is the Christ when he gave him a sign that he was going to be in the grave for 3 days and 3 nights? And the people running around dragging people say he died Good Friday and rose Easter Sunday morning. Who do you think gave that to this man? The dragon. So when you worship this modern day Roman Christianity, you are worshiping the dragon. And they don't need to being soft about it. That's why I said they worship the beast and they worship the dragon, which gave power to the beast. Go ahead and read.
And they worshiped the beast, saying, who is like unto the beast? Who is able to make war with him?
Go ahead.
And there was given unto him a mouth speaking great things and blasphemies. And power was given unto him to continue 42 months.
So he going at the same time. It's 3.5 years he going to be around for 3.5 years, sisters and brothers. And he already blaspheming the word of God and them that dwell in heaven. But go ahead and read.
And he opened his mouth in blasphemy against God to blaspheme his name.
Go ahead.
And his tabernacle and them that dwell in heaven.
Go ahead.
And it was given unto him to make war with the saints.
Pay attention now. It was given unto him to make war with the saints. Go ahead and read.
And to overcome them.
And to overcome them. Go ahead.
And power was given him over all kindreds and tongues and nations.
That's why it said that when the dragon could get the woman, he turned on her seed. So if you're not in a place of safety, you may or may not make it. But I tell you what, if you don't get there, do not let him stamp the mark of the beast on you. People say, well, it's the word, in your head and right. I don't care whatever way the Lord going to let you know clearly what it is. Because we got people running around now. Talking about in the vaccine, they putting little chips in the needle. Have you seen the hole in that needle? Come on, sisters and brothers. You can sell Israel anything. You can sell him a glass full of air and tell him it's whiskey. But he said, he going to make war with the saints. And he going to prevail, sisters and brothers. Mm-hmm. See, God has given us fair warning. It's when Jesus told the Jews when he was coming up on Jerusalem, he started crying. He said, look, the day comes when they're going to flatten you with the ground. They're going to destroy you. Then he turned around and gave a warning. But when you see the abomination, when you see Jerusalem surrounded by armies, know that the desolation there is nigh to destruction. So if you're in Jerusalem, flee out. If you're outside Jerusalem, don't come in. Israel didn't listen. And the Romans in 70 AD, by the hand of Titus, killed Israel until they were stacked up in the streets like planks and bodies thrown over the wall. They were crucified up to 500 a day because somebody didn't listen. And I see this same problem we got nowadays. They don't listen. So the Lord said, look, he's going to make war with the saints, and he's going to prevail. Let's go into Matthew, the 24th chapter. And hear people all the time, well, you know, God, how come he let this happen to you? Because he warned you and you didn't do it. And he told you that you're going to pay for everything that you're supposed to pay for. Everybody's trying to get off Monday, but you notice ain't nobody got off Monday, nothing. All that simple. Everybody rejoicing. Well, look at it, made Juneteenth a federal holiday. Still you broke. And somebody's still trying to evict you from your apartment. Right. And you up against it on every side. Big deal, June 10th. Brother, can you spare a dime? Got to stop getting caught up in ideology and get caught up with the Word of God. It's all that simple. Matthew 24, and we're going to start at verse 15. God gave you He gave you a clear warning of what's going to happen and when it's going to happen. That's why people come, well, you know, they're going to put a chip in. I said, I don't care if they put a whole computer inside of you. The whole thing is nothing happens before this takes place. Verse 15, verse 15, go ahead.
When ye therefore shall see the abomination of desolation, spoken of by Daniel the prophet, stand in the holy place, whosoever readeth, let him understand.
Now, you need to find out who the abomination of desolation is and where the holy place is. So you'll know where to look, and then you'll know who is going to go where. And all these people talking about this computer chips and all that kind of stuff, they don't have a clue. And who's listening to them? Israel. Go ahead and read.
Then let them which be in Judea flee into the mountains. Let him which is on the housetop not come down to take anything out of his house.
Go ahead.
Neither let him which is in the field return back to take his clothes.
Now, that's talking not only Judea, that's talking about the whole world, sisters and brothers. When you see this happen, you better flee. Skip down to verse 21. Verse 21 and go ahead.
For then shall be great tribulation, such as was not since the beginning of the world.
Go ahead.
To this time, no ever shall be.
That means it's going to be the worst drama on the earth since the creation. May never have been a time like this. So he's warned you, when you see this, it's going to be bad, sisters and brothers. Go ahead and read.
And except those days should be shortened, there should no flesh be saved.
Go ahead.
But for the elect's sake, those days shall be shortened.
So as Jesus don't intervene then, sisters and brothers, this man will kill everybody on the planet. They have the capacity now to do that. You think somebody's going to drop a nuclear weapon on me and I ain't going to push the button and drop it back on them? Everybody going to be pushing button, and when the nuclear dust go down, ain't nobody going to be living. But the Lord said, I'm going to cut it short. I ain't going to let that happen.
Right.
But in the meantime, you're going to be out of harm's way because you're going to be in the wilderness. Skip down to verse 29. Verse 29 and go ahead.
Immediately after the tribulation of those days shall the sun be darkened, and the moon shall not give her light.
Go ahead.
And the stars shall fall from heaven, and the powers of the heavens shall be shaken.
That's immediately after the tribulation of those days. Sun going to turn black, moon red, stars going to fall. That's going to be the sign of the coming of the Lord, because the Lord going to finish that 3.5 years with his tribulation up on the beast and the false prophet. Prophets going to fall, they're going to exist for 3.5 years, but part of that, they're going to have some tribulation on them. Because when that heaven rolled back like a scroll, sisters and brothers, the last thing that beast and false prophet and his minion and all the kings of the earth going to be concerned with is you. They're going to be trying to deal with this terror from the sky. And that's exactly what it's going to be. So go ahead.
30. And then shall appear the sign of the Son of Man in heaven.
Go ahead.
And then shall all the tribes of the earth mourn.
They ain't going to mourn for nothing. Go ahead.
And they shall see the Son of Man coming in the clouds of heaven with power and great glory.
Now here he comes with power and great glory. He's coming now. And when he comes, that's when he's going to gather Israel. Go ahead and read.
And he shall send his angels with the great sound of a trumpet. And they shall gather together his elect from the four winds, from one end of heaven to the other.
And until that time comes, sisters and brothers, Israel is going to be in captivity. It's all that simple. Oh, you got a handful of Israelites went out there, but who's running it? It's all that simple. Now let's go into Zechariah the 14th chapter, because the Lord's going to come, and he's going to come after the tribulation of those days. And not before. And for a lot of the Sunday preachers that preaching this garbage, he's going to take the church up during the Great Tribulation. You are lying to the people. First thing is to tell you, 1 Thessalonians the 4th chapter, that the Lord is going to start his descent before the dead is raised and the living's changed. Yep. Then they're going to meet him in there. But that is immediately after the Great Tribulation. So all them people you told that they're going to be raptured up before the Great Tribulation, they're going to be chasing you, trying to kill you. Because you lied to them. That's a warning to the ministers that's telling that lie. Zechariah 14, because it said the Lord is coming, sisters and brothers. And he ain't just coming to plead with you like, please come in. He's going to come whooping head. 14 and 1. Zechariah 14 and 1. Okay, go ahead.
Behold, the day of the Lord cometh, and thy spoil shall be divided in the midst of thee.
And it's going to be a spoil, because he's going to rise up to the prey. Go ahead and read.
For I will gather all nations against Jerusalem to battle. And the city shall be taken.
Go ahead.
And the houses rifled. And the women ravished. And half of the city shall go forth into captivity, and the residue of the people shall not be cut off from the city.
That's when the Lord is going to bring this. When he starts the war that's going to lead up to the war of Armageddon. And the big show is going to be in Jerusalem, because that's where the headquarters of the beast and the false prophet is going to be. And when you look at the continent, that ain't no big thing for Eastern Europeans and all their allies once they come across Turkey and the Euphrates River. Ain't no big thing for them to end up in Jerusalem, because it's all sitting there on the continent. But put your finger here. I want to take this step by step, because God is going to gather all nations that come against Jerusalem. Let's go into Revelation, but keep your marker here. We're coming right back. Let's go into Revelation, the 6th chapter, because I want to walk this battle step by step. Revelation chapter 16, rather. Revelation chapter 16. Revelation chapter 16. And we're going to start at verse 15. Revelation chapter 16 and verse 15. Because I won't lie to you, sisters and brothers. My wife asked me a whole lot of time, what's wrong? Why are you so sad? What's wrong? It's because I'm looking at where Israel is. I'm looking at what the world is. I'm looking at all these sleepers. And ain't nobody paying no attention. I understand when the book said with the decrease of knowledge is the decrease of sorrow. I see what's happening. And ain't nobody listening. Verse 15, 16 and 15. Go ahead.
Behold, I come as a thief. Blessed is he that watcheth, and keepeth his garments, lest he walk naked, and they see his shame.
He come as a thief, but not to us. We're supposed to know, but to the world.
Yeah.
And we are not naked. We are clothed in the wisdom and spirit and knowledge of God.
Mm-hmm.
That's our clothing. And we are clothed by his law. Like when Moses come down off the mountain, what Aaron and made that calf. He said, what have these people done to you that you have made them naked? You remove the hedges of God from around the people.
Right.
Because he will not protect no willful sinner. So he said, I come quickly. And I want you to keep your garments and don't walk naked. And the whole world is going to see your shame. Go ahead and read.
And he gathered them together into a place called in the Hebrew tongue Armageddon.
So that's the valley of Megiddo. So all these nations, because the theater, the big war, going to take place between the European sisters and brothers. You got brothers running around talking about America. America is not even listed in this. And this whole battle is going to move on, sisters and brothers, and it's going to end up in the valley of Megiddo, which is northeast of Jerusalem, because that's where the beast and the false prophet's going to be. So I told you to keep your spot there. I just want to let you know here that the Lord said, come quickly, and he's going to take them. He's going to move this battle to the valley of Megiddo. Or he's going to give them together to the war of Armageddon. Now let's go back to Zechariah the 14th chapter, and we're going to continue where we left off. Because when he come now, then he told you in Matthew the 24th chapter, then he going to have to cut it short. How? By intervening. Because if you don't come in now, this man's going to kill everything on this planet. And this man have a capability of doing that, sister and brother. He had the weapons now. Zechariah 14 and verse 3. 14 and 3. Go ahead and read.
Then shall the Lord go forth and fight against those nations, as when he fought in the day of battle.
Go ahead.
And his feet shall stand in that day upon the Mount of Olives.
Now when he come to battle, when he hit the ground, his feet is going to hit where he last stood before he left this earth. And his feet going to stand in that day up on the Mount of Olives. Go ahead and read.
Which is before Jerusalem on the east.
That's on the east, on the earth. Go ahead.
And the Mount of Olives shall cleave in the midst thereof toward the east and toward the west.
Go ahead.
And there shall be a very great valley. And half of the mountain shall remove to the north, and half of it toward the south.
Go ahead.
And ye shall flee to the valley of the mountains, for the valley of the mountains shall reach unto Azel.
Now, why the people going to flee to it? Because they will have been under this great tribulation, and they're going to be glad to see their God. The people that have some knowledge, and they're going to run to him. Go ahead and read.
Yeah, ye shall flee, like as ye fled from before the earthquake in the days of Uzziah, king of Judah.
Go ahead.
And the Lord my God shall come.
And the Lord my God shall come. Go ahead.
And all the saints with thee.
And all the saints with thee. These are the people that's going to be changed and raised in the first resurrection. You're going to meet the Lord in there, and everybody's coming back down here. Go ahead and read. What is that, verse 5?
Yes, sir.
Skip down to verse 9 and go ahead.
And the Lord shall be king over all the earth. In that day shall there be one Lord, and his name one.
See, the Lord going to be king over all the earth. He ain't going back to heaven. The only one that want to go to heaven is Satan the devil. God called him Lucifer at that time. And the Lord is going to be king over all the earth. Go ahead and read.
All the land shall be turned as a plain from Jeba to Rimmon, south of Jerusalem. And it shall be lifted up and inhabited in her place.
Because the Lord going to flatten it. That's why he said going to make it a plain. I tell people now, you in Jerusalem, You're in the worst place on the planet for right now. Because the Lord going to flatten it. And then he going to lift it up once the people get back. Go ahead and read.
And inhabitants in her place, from Benjamin's gate unto the place of the first gate, and to the corner gate, and from the tower of Hananiel unto the king's winepress.
Go ahead.
And men shall dwell in it, and there shall be no more utter destruction, but Jerusalem shall be safely inhabited.
That is after the Lord had flattened it. He's going to clean it out, sisters and brothers. Because he ain't going to bring Israel right there, because Israel will be in the wilderness. So the Lord is going to go where the people are. Let's go into Isaiah, the 16th chapter. Isaiah chapter 16. Mount of Olives is not in Jerusalem, sisters and brothers. It's not in Israel. It's outside Jerusalem. And he's going to go to the wilderness from there. Isaiah 16. Because the book says a Sabbath day journey from Jerusalem. Isaiah 16 and verse 1. Isaiah 16 and verse 1. Okay, read it.
Send ye the lamb to the ruler of the land of Selah, to the wilderness, unto the mount of the daughter of Zion.
Because that's where the daughter of Zion is going to be, sister and brother, in the wilderness. So he ain't going directly to Jerusalem. He is going to the wilderness, the same place he met our forefathers. And he let you know that. Let's go into Hosea, the 2nd chapter. Because Israel, sisters and brothers, is the woman that we read about. This is God's wife. She divorced now. God had put us away now, but he said he's going to remarry us. Yep. Hosea chapter 2. Then we got all the scripture that the Lord put here for us to read and understand. We don't have time for accusation and pointing the fingers. We don't have time for trying to deal with people. And then brother gonna come to me and tell me, brother, you know, we deal with nationhood. What nation? That kind of conversation you might not even get to be in. Hosea chapter 2. And we're going to start at verse 14. Look what the Lord says here. 2 and 14. Go ahead.
Therefore, behold, I will allure her and bring her into the wilderness and speak comfortably unto her.
Because the Lord's going to be there. Okay? Go ahead.
And I will give her vineyards from thence, and the valley of Achor for a door of hope.
Go ahead.
And she shall sing there, as in the days of her youth, and as in the day when she came up out of the land of Egypt.
He said, I'm going to give you the valley of Achor. That's where they entered into Israel. And the Lord, and when the people come out of there, everybody's going to know where they plot of land in Israel is, sisters and brothers. And he said, when you do that, you're going to rejoice there, as in the days of old, in the time when I brought you out of Egypt. But it all starts in the wilderness, sisters and brothers. If you are not going directly to the land. Go ahead and read.
16. And it shall be that day, saith the Lord, that thou shalt call me Ishai, and shalt call me no more Baali.
The word Ishai means my husband. Because the Lord is going to remarry this rebellious people. Go ahead and read.
For I will take away the names of Baalim out of her mouth, and they shall no more be remembered by their name.
Go ahead.
And in that day will I make a covenant for them with the beasts of the field, and with the fowls of heaven.
Go ahead.
And with the creeping things on the ground. And I will break the bow and the sword and the battle out of the earth.
Now, go ahead.
And will make them to lie down safely.
Now, when he make a covenant with the animals, that means the animals ain't going to attack people no more. Lord let you know in that day the lion is going to eat straw like the ox. Snakes ain't going to bite nobody. Because he's going to make this covenant. Just like it was before Adam and Eve sinned against God and Noah them come across the flood. Go ahead and read.
19. And I will betroth thee unto me forever.
Now, betrothal in the Bible means marriage, sisters and brothers. Man said betrothal means you promise her this is my fiancé. No. In the Bible, it means marry. I'm going to marry you forever. Go ahead and read.
Yeah. I will betroth thee unto me in righteousness and in judgment and in loving kindness and in mercies. I will even betroth thee unto me in faithfulness, and thou shalt know the Lord.
Yes, because that's when he's going to marry Israel. Skip down to verse 23 and go ahead.
And I will sow her unto me in the earth, and I will have mercy upon her that had not obtained mercy. And I will say to them which were not my people, thou art my people. And they shall say, thou art my God.
Now that's when he make this betrothal, this marriage, sisters and brothers. Now let's go into Revelation, the 19th chapter, and look at it. Revelation chapter 19. People read this stuff and they don't have a clue what's going on. Why? Because Israel is busy making accusations instead of busy teaching the people. All of the people. Israel is busy trying to cut the rest of the whole creation out and kill them all, and they be left alone. So they don't see none of this. Now, I ain't lying. Been in as long as I have, sisters and brothers, I am getting real tired of all these smart Hebrews whose daddies didn't exist when I came into the Word. Young one brother made the statement. He don't know that I hear everything that come out of their mouth. Because Israel got a big mouth, can't keep nothing. The old man used to move over and let the young lions take over. Young lion, you ain't got no teeth. Somebody come up on you with this book, you couldn't defend yourself. Revelation 19 and verse 6. 19 and 6. Okay, go ahead.
And I heard as if it were the voice of a great multitude, and as the voice of many waters, and as the voice of the mighty thundering, saying, Hallelujah! For the Lord God omnipotent reigneth.
He reigneth now, he's here. Go ahead and read.
Let us be glad and rejoice, and give honor to him. For the marriage of the Lamb is come, and his wife have made herself ready.
He's going to remarry Israel, sisters and brothers. That's why, but the marriage starts in the wilderness. Now, you can do it right now if you get baptized in the name of Jesus. That's why I tell people all the time, you're married to the Lord, but you got to keep walking the walk. Or you mess around and divorce yourself. So he said, look, the marriage of the Lamb is here, and his wife have made herself ready. How did she do that? Go ahead and read.
And to her was granted that she should be arrayed in fine linen, clean and white.
Go ahead.
For the fine linen is the righteousness of saints.
That means you got to be righteous.
Yes.
You got to keep God's laws and statutes and his commandments. That's why I said a seed of the woman that didn't go, who what else? That keep the commandments of God and the testimony of Jesus. You got to keep all that, sisters and brothers. Yeah. You can't have a half or a piece of it. All or nothing. Go ahead and read.
And he saith unto me, Right, blessed are they which are called into the marriage supper of the Lamb.
Go ahead.
And he saith unto me, These are the true sayings of God.
So if you're there, you are blessed.
Yes.
But this marriage is going on now when you get baptized, but the big betrothal is going to start taking place with Israel when you get into the wilderness. Because that's why I say I'm going to lure her in the wilderness. And I will betroth her unto me in the wilderness. So he going to find some already there. If they ain't in the first resurrection, they'll be there. But the rest of Israel, he is going to bring from the rest of this world. Let's go into Ezekiel, the 20th chapter. So I tell brothers, y'all better read this book, and you're going to find yourself somewhere you don't want to be. If Israel just being Israel was enough, then you wouldn't be out in captivity. You'd still be in your land. Obvious it wasn't enough, because we here. Rejoicing at any little crumb that the Gentiles throw at us. I pay no attention to none of that stuff. I only pay attention to one thing. That's, am I doing what God tells me to do so I can enjoy the good when it comes? Because it is coming.
Yes, coming.
Ezekiel 20. And we're going to start at verse 34. Ezekiel 20 and verse 34. And this is going to happen, sisters and brothers, just like it's written. It's not going to happen no other way. There people got, I look at YouTube, got people going on, and they're in Guyana, not Guyana, they're in several places on the African continent. You know, we got property this and that, and you got some other, what is this that told all the blacks, come on home? Was it Ghana? Yeah. Yeah, go ahead on home and see what's going to happen to you. Got a brother, little bit of garden out there. See, I'm raising my this and raising my that. You don't have to go to Africa to be a farmer. Come on home. That is not your house. That is Ham's house. Ezekiel 20 and verse 34. Go ahead and read.
And I will bring you out from the people, and will gather you out of the countries wherein ye are scattered.
Now, he's telling you right now, I'm going to bring you out from the people and out from the countries where you're scattered. I mean, every country, wherever there's an Israelite is, God going to bring him. Whether he know he's an Israelite or not. God know who you are. Yeah. Go ahead and read.
With a mighty hand and with a stretched out arm and with fury poured out.
Yes, sir, because he's going to do it with great destruction. Go ahead.
And I will bring you into the wilderness of the people.
Wait a minute, brother boy. I want to go to the land of Israel. The Lord said, I'm going to bring you to the wilderness of the people. Like what? Go ahead and read.
And there will I plead with you face to face.
That's because he's going to be here. Mm-hmm. People tell me, well, the Jews are going back. I got a letter from some brother. Go tell me, well, you know, they're talking about the timeline and the prophecy. Once I get through with this here, I'm going to have some understanding. The first thing at the top, see, the Jews went back in 48? I didn't even read the rest of it. I put it in the shredder. So why read the prattling of a foolish man, a woman, whoever it was? I didn't even bother to look at the name. But go ahead and read.
36. Like as I pleaded with your fathers in the wilderness of the land of Egypt, so will I plead with you, saith the Lord God.
All you got to do is see what he did with your fathers in the wilderness. Go ahead and read.
And I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant.
I will cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. Don't you know marriage is a covenant, sisters and brothers?
Yeah.
Don't you know that? Mm-hmm. It is an agreement between two people or two sets of people or between two different individuals or groups or whatever. A covenant is a marriage, and marriage is a covenant. So I will bring you into the bond, cause you to pass under the rod, and I will bring you into the bond of the covenant. Go ahead and read.
And I will purge out from among you the rebels, and them that transgress against me.
And I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress against me. Brother coming and tell me, look, Jesus is Zeus. JC. I'm going to show you what purging means, okay? I'm doing this for your sake. I'm trying to save your life. I will purge out from among you the rebels and them that transgress of me. Go ahead and read.
I will bring them forth out of the country where they sojourn. And they shall not enter into the land of Israel, and ye shall know that I am the Lord.
Think about it, sisters and brothers. You're an Israelite, and all of a sudden you find out the people, there's some that's finding out now, and all of a sudden you find out that you are the people of the Bible, and the Lord's bringing you back. You're going to be rejoicing until the Lord say, you got to enter into a covenant with me. That Sunday thing, that don't work. Going to heaven don't work. You Hebrew Israelite, to my nationality, you got to get in the nation before you become a nation. Spitting on my name, that don't work. He said, and I will purge you right there in the wilderness. And you will not enter into the land of Israel. He's talking about Hebrew Israelites here. I'm going to give you a good example of what he's talking about. Let's go into Numbers, the 14th chapter. Because he said he's going to do you just like he did in the days of Egypt. Is this what we read?
Yep.
Numbers chapter 14. I won't lie to you, sisters and brothers. I am angry every day. And I'm disappointed at a lot of Israelites every day. For a minute there, I stopped watching Israelites because I was just overwhelmed. I was overwhelmed with their stupidity and a lack of understanding. But I had to force myself to keep watching. Who knows? Somebody might want to learn how to save themselves. Numbers the 14th chapter. See here, sisters and brothers, when this took place in Numbers the 14th, that's when the Lord had told Israel, I have given you the land of Canaan. Now go over and possess it. Mm-hmm. God done destroyed Egypt for you. Yep. He done gave you water out of a rock. He done rained down bread from heaven, which they call manna. He done brought quails in because you lusted for meat and brought you meat. Yes. He done split a sea in front of you. Mm-hmm. And now when he tell you to go out and spy out the land, and you do it, then you come back and you give a negative report of it. Oh, Lord, tell the people, and Moses and the people, no, these people got fenced cities over there. They got giants over there, the sons of Anak. The land eats up people. They made it look so bad. Joshua and Caleb tried to intervene, but it was 10 against 2 because he sent 12 men over there, one person out of each tribe. 10 of them come back, and they took such a bad report until the people started complaining. But one thing, nobody remembered what God had done. He done flattened the Egyptians for you. He done split the Red Sea. He done fed you with bread from heaven. He done gave you meat when you were lusting. Brought you water out of a rock. You ain't missing none of that. So this is what they did. 14-1. Go ahead.
And all the congregation lifted up their voice and cried.
Go ahead.
And the people wept that night.
Uh-huh.
And all the children of Israel murmured against Moses and against Aaron.
Uh-huh.
And the whole congregation said unto them, would God that we had died in the land of Egypt, or would God we had died in this wilderness?
Okay, you're in the wilderness, so just lay down and die. But they murmured against Moses. They murmured against God. Go ahead and read.
And wherefore have the Lord brought us unto this land to fall by the sword?
Go ahead.
That our wives and our children should be a prey.
Go ahead.
Were it not better for us to return into Egypt?
Ain't that something?
That's something.
And look what they said. Go ahead.
And they said one to another, let us make us a captain, and let us return into Egypt.
In other words, skip Moses. We're going to get rid of Moses, and we're going to make us a captain to return to Egypt. In other words, like I said about some of these, Paul spoke about people that hired preachers with itching ears. And in the meantime, the Lord is listening to this. Skip down to verse 11. Verse 11 and go ahead.
And the Lord said unto Moses, how long will this people provoke me? And how long will it be ere they believe me? For all the signs which I have showed among them.
He said, look, how long will this people provoke me? How long will it be? Forever will they believe me? Look at all the signs I've shown them. So what did he say to Moses? Go ahead and read.
I will smite them with the pestilence and disinherit them, and will make of thee a greater nation and mightier than they.
So Moses, I'm going to kill them all. I don't need but one male to keep my my covenant with Abraham.
Right.
I'll take you, and I'll make mightier nations than them with you. But then Moses, being the man of God, and he loved his people, what did he say? Go ahead and read.
And Moses said unto the Lord, Then the Egyptians shall hear it, for thou broughtest up this people into the might from among them.
Go ahead.
And they will tell it to the inhabitants of this land. For they have heard that thou, Lord, art among this people.
Go ahead.
That thou, Lord, art seen face to face.
Go ahead.
And that thou cloud standeth over them.
Uh-huh.
And that thou goest before them.
Go ahead.
By daytime in a pillar of a cloud, and in a pillar of fire by night.
He said, look, if you kill these people as one man, the Egyptians going to hear it.
Yep.
Then they're going to tell the people in the land of Canaan. Go ahead and read.
Now thou shalt kill all this people as one man. Then the nations which have heard the fame of thee will speak, saying,
Go ahead.
Because the Lord was not able to bring this people into the land which he sware unto them. Therefore he hath slain them in the wilderness.
Ain't that something?
Yep.
He said, all the nations going to see that you couldn't bring the people into the land that you swore you were going to bring them, so you kill them in the wilderness. In other words, this is a weakness in God. You understand?
Yep.
Moses made a great big plea for this people because this people have always been a foolish people, and we are the children of this people.
Yes.
And I tell you, it irks me sometimes to hear some of them talk. But I got to listen. Go ahead and read.
Keep reading.
What is it, verse 16?
Yeah, I finished.
Well, skip down to verse 19. Verse 19 and go ahead. And pay attention to what Moses said. Go ahead.
Pardon, I beseech thee, the iniquity of this people according unto the greatness of thy mercy. And as thou hast forgiven this people from Egypt, even unto now.
Ain't that something? He said, pardon them now. Show the greatness of mercy. If y'all have forgiven this people from Egypt, even until now, because God had to forgive them over and over again. Several times God said, I'm going to kill them all. And one time he just started killing them. And Moses had to tell Aaron, get a lantern and stand between the dead and the living with incense in it. God had already killed thousands by the time he pulled it off. He was going to kill all of us, sisters and brothers. Everyone. Because we don't listen. We are smarter than God. We're smarter than everything. We're smarter than the scientists that's come along. Well, you see, I don't know about that scientist. You ain't paying no attention. When Nebuchadnezzar got the people from Jerusalem, he got the young people, Daniel's young men that understood science. Ain't that what the book said? Their science wasn't no good. What did Daniel's them, what business did they have understanding science? I listened to this Israelite and I marvel at his inability to reason. And the Lord said what? Go ahead and read.
20. And the Lord said, I have pardoned according to thy word.
I have pardoned. That shows you that the Lord can repent. Yeah. He said, okay, I have pardoned them according to your word. That Moses, he put in a great big plea for Israel. Go ahead and read.
But as truly as I live, all the earth shall be filled with the glory of the Lord.
Go ahead.
Because all those men which have seen my glory and my miracles, which I did in Egypt and in the wilderness, and have tempted me now these 10 times.
10 times. Go ahead.
And have not hearkened to my voice. Surely they shall not see the land which I swear unto their fathers.
Go ahead.
Neither shall any of them that provoke me see it.
So look, I'm going to tell you this, Moses, I ain't going to kill them all, but I'm going to tell you this. All these people that murmured against me, they ain't going to get into the land. Go ahead and read.
But my servant Caleb, because he had another spirit with him, and have followed me fully, him will I bring into the land whereunto he went, and his seed shall possess it.
That's the same thing when we go in these last days. The same thing. Skip down to verse 29 and read it.
Your carcasses shall fall in this wilderness, and all that were numbered of you, according to your whole number.
Go ahead.
From 20 years old and upward, which have murmured against me.
Ooh, wait. What was it, 600,000 footmen that left?
Yep.
He said, your carcass that come out of Egypt, from 20 years and upward, he said, you're going to die in this wilderness. Can you, that is a whole lot of people, sisters and brothers. But he delivered every one of them out of Egypt. But they didn't get to the land. Skip down to verse 34. Verse 34 and go ahead.
After the number of the days in which ye searched the land, even 40 days, each day for a year.
Go ahead.
Shall ye bear your iniquities even 40 years, and ye shall know my breach of promise.
He said, each day, I'm going to make it a year. And when I do this and kill all y'all, then you're going to know my breach of promise. God can make you a promise, but if you sin against him, he will breach it. Go ahead.
I, the Lord, have said, I will surely do it unto all this evil congregation that are gathered together against me.
Look what he called an evil congregation. Listen to these Hebrews nowadays. It's like we ain't never committed nothing in our life. We all innocent and all the rest of the other people are guilty. God called you evil congregation, and you are your father's children. Go ahead.
In this wilderness they shall be consumed, and there they shall die.
In this wilderness. I'm not going to take a bunch of rebellious and dirty and lying children. That's why I'm going to bring them into the wilderness, and I'm going to bring them into the bond of the covenant. In other words, that's what they're going to have to be married to me.
Yes.
Just like they was in the wilderness of Egypt, sisters and brothers.